Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public face, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barretons too, cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana.
You know, all over the country, people are fed up. Everyone is fed up. People are fed up of the fakers. People are fed up of the flat-foot hustlers. People are fed up of people who try to throw icing on the cake. People are just fed up of the every single thing that is bad in the country, including those idiotic individuals who embrace now the oppressors, and they're trying to justify it. I don't know. I can't listen to those individuals and their so-called justifications, you know. A hustler is a hustler. At least I can see a hustler. I know a hustler. I can see a hustler from here all the way in Melody. From where I am, that's my distance. I can see a hustler. I can see hustlers. They're up. And look, Dr. David Hinds is is in studio. Let me show you guys what he did behind the scene. When I said I can see a hustler, all the way from here where I am, all the way in Melanie, I can see those hustlers. They are hustlers, and we cannot have patience with those hustlers. Let me remove Dr. David Hinds. I deliberately put him on the screen because he was laughing. Look, he's still laughing. He's behind us. We will get to Dr. David Hinds shortly. But we can see, at least I can see the hustlers, the flat-foot hustlers. I know who they are. They can't fool me. They can't come with their soft tone and their nice tone and, okay, Dr. David Hinds and Dr. David Hinds. They're flat-foot hustlers. They do not mean good for themselves, nor maybe for themselves, that is. But they're not good for politics. They're not good for the nation. They're not good for inspiring or motivating young people or anything of that sort. Don't worry with them. It's just the other day they like to cuss out individuals. What is it? SYM. I got to ask Dr. David Hinds if he knows what SYM is. You can't have some Mickey Mouse individual pretending as though they're some sort of a political leader, cussing people and telling them SYM. And because Dr. David Hinds tell them that they are what they are, liquors and all sort of thing. And he wasn't talking about high wine and Hennessy and these sort of things. But I heard Dr. David Hinds, he drank the expensive liquor and also, hey, them box some people something else. They could put you on swar, right? They can swar you, but we'll get back to Dr. David Hinds shortly. Every time he laughs behind the behind the studio in screen. I'm going to put him on. Every time I say something and he laughs, you guys going to see him before he comes back. Take a look at him again. Laughing, expensive liquor and all. Hey, people can bluff people in this life. But Dr. David Hinds is our guest tonight. We have lots of things to talk about. I don't know what you guys are saying, what you guys are thinking at your end there, but nobody can. We are not inviting people to waste space, waste time, waste energy. We do not do that here. We deal with real things. That is why it's called Straight Up. Look, let me just address Freddie Kissoon. And I think it was Bond, the guy who loves to tell people SYM. Do you guys know what SYM is? People get hurt for mashing people Balis. I don't know if Dr. David Hinds remember Balis and Travel Fox and these sort of things. But let's bring Dr. David Hinds right on. Good night to you, Doc. How are you, sir?
I'm surviving. I'm surviving.
Well, we're glad that you're surviving. Thank you so much. I saw you had a very boring program this afternoon, but Doc, I saw just about 1 minute and I'm like, look, let me go out and play marble, man. I prefer to go and do something else than to watch that, but to each his own. But do you know what SYM means?
Now shut your mouth.
Well, it could mean shut your mouth, but it means something else. Check what all your friends, your Buxton friends and them saying there. Check what your Buxton friends and them saying there. So that so-called a guest that you had on tonight, that's what they can't dress up themselves and bluff people. They are what they are. They are who they are. And I was surprised that you took a soft tone after coming off and a high thing and this. It seems as though you just gathered them up. You felt sorry for them. I don't know why you felt sorry. I just don't know why you did that, Dr. David Hinds. I just don't know why you did that. But Dr. David Hinds will be Dr. David Hinds. Dr. David Hinds. Good night to you, Doc. How are you, sir?
I'm here. What about you, sir?
Thank you, sir. I'm okay. But before we get into that, let me just address Freddie Kissoon and that guy that you had on, Masquerader. And so saying that Ben Sharp was responsible for some reporter at News getting fired. I don't know what they're talking about. They're just trying to justify their action. And in order to justify their action, they just want to pull me into it and that I made a reporter. Look, I have so many sources. I had people when Jack Day was president and all those other stuff. They had people who were giving information, solid information, files, and all manner of things from the office of the president, from the commissioner's office, you name it, all over the place, including reporters. And I am not known for giving out my sources at all. So I don't know who those Pakus are fooling. However, the only person that I recall got fired, kicked out like a dog out of Kaicher News was Freddie Kissoon. Fired. And he came like a little Kwame, and you guys know, crying at my house, crying. You know, I like Dr. David Hinds. I don't know if this is what all Buxtonians do, man. This is how you guys laugh in Buxton.
He cried like a little what?
Cry like a little Kwame. Even in there we go with that laugh. There's a Buxtonian laugh. Good night to all of you guys. Dr. David Hinds is with us here this evening. He even cried in the breakdown and so forth. So after he came and he cried like a little baby, went over to Nigel's office, the same Nigel he was cussing out at the time, and we drove him after 9 at Glenlal's office at Kaicher News and begged for him to get his job back. Begged for him. It make joke with Crapo. You make joke with ungrateful Crapo. But these are the guys who now are taking umbrage to what you have said. But let me take you back to what he did. Let me take you back. The real Freddie Kissoon. These guys cannot change. They cannot change. It's all about the money. It's all about the hustle. And it's not about the people. Take a listen to the same Freddie Kissoon who tried to think that he's a pandit now. Take a listen. Take a listen, guys, for those of you who never heard this.
Ready.
Come on, take me on.
Ready.
I come back from you, Thomas. You think you don't know me, a jacker. You are stupid. I bet the tree university. You only got that stuff from school. Get your ass here. You can train you. You can train them Yankees.
Come here, Carl. Don't close. Don't.
Jennifer Westford, of course, with the PPP, Freddie Kistoon, Costin Chiao, Donkey, Jackass, you could this, carry a so-and-so, sir. All manner of, I want people to listen, and I want you guys to understand the hypocrites, the hypocrisy with these individuals. Listen again.
The way from you, Dotish. You're kicking on me, eh? Jacker, you are stupid. I bet the King University. You don't even got to step on school. Get your ass here.
Train you for it if you wish.
You can train you. You can train them donkeys.
Come in the car. Don't close. Don't.
Hypocrite. Hypocrite. You're using the workers to check on this you when you're cronies, donkeys.
Oh, Minister. You are so stupid. We can
Look,
train
you look
you.
stupid. You can show the photograph. Demoralizing this.
All right, Dr. David Hinds, these are people who now condemning you for what you said. And what you said, I'm 100% in support of it, what you said. It's too bad that you brought one of them on your show tonight. But what is your take on what Freddie Kistoon said there and his behavior? As they wanted to condemn you yesterday. By the way, congrats on that big house you bought. There you go again. There you go again with a boxing laugh. Shake up your body. Big house. What's your take on his behavior, sir?
You know, I feel sorry for Freddie. You know, Mark, Freddie was so much part of us. We were brothers. You know, I feel sorry for that chap. You know, if Freddie wanted to go over to the PPP, he could have said, brothers, I think I'm going home. And we would have said, Freddie, go home, boy. You know, you're the open the road long. Go home. And we were still being friends. But he knew that he was committing. He knew what he was doing. He knew that he was selling out everything that we thought he stood for. And so he decided that something traumatic happened between March and August of 2020. And Ben Shop and David Hinds, they were supportive of it. And so, oh my God, I'm gone over to the PPP. You know, Mark, as you know, although he was with us and so on, we always had our suspicions of him. But we gave him the benefit of it. And the people he has gone over to, they don't have too much respect for him. Because, you know, he's a loose cannon. You know, he's what Teacher George Young in Buxton would say. He got to wear bib because he out to run. You got to put bib on him. You know, them little picnic when you put on the bib and so on. All right? He's a loose cannon and nobody can have him around. Freddie's a gossiper. And he calls gossip recording of history. If Freddie can write every day in his column who's sleepy do and that's what he's interested in.
He actually writes about that. I hope one day he may probably turn that pen to UG too. Who's sleepy? But then again, we do not deal with those things here on Bench.
That's right. And I warn him, if he steps out of line, I don't sue people, but I can sue him for right down to his balls. You know, because he feel that he got secret for people. And he got the biggest secret in his closet. Oh, I'm not sure if it's in the closet. You know, I don't take Freddie too seriously. I really don't. I feel sorry for Freddie.
Oh yeah, and you know, there is this song, Dr. David Hinds. We speak about that because we have far more important things to talk about, of which we will this evening, right here on 107.1 FM. We do not focus much on crappos, but you mentioned the likes of the Freddie Kistoon, who was with us. He was with us for so many years, and we treated him like a brother. We fed him every single day. We fed him. We fed him every day. But, you know, based on my religion, you don't talk about people that you basically fed. But for many years, we fed him. And this is what he's doing to us.
Sorry for mother dog, him turn round bite you. And if you drop
right, quite fitting indeed to him. Sorry for Magadag, and Magadag turn around bite you. Those were the good days at Shanta. Sometimes we didn't even have any money, but we just had to make sure that we fed him. Even in the lockups, he was fed. Even in the lockups, he cried like a little quam. He cried. Do the box and laugh. Cried. Dr. David Hinds, you did say you call all sorts of names, lick this, lick that, lick this, lick that. What's going on, and what's the justification, please, for those individuals who are crawling over to the PPP?
Look, Mark, let me, and people, some of the people that were on my show, every one of us has a right to join whatever party we want to join. I don't care who join PPP, PNC, whoever they want to join. They have a right to. Every party has a right to go and recruit members from wherever. PPP got a right to recruit African members. PNC got a right to recruit Indian members. That's standard. Every Guyanese, regardless of their race, their class, they have a right to live in their country and to benefit from the resources of their country. When the PPP is in government, Black people have a right to get contracts. They have a right to get jobs. They have a right to enjoy, and vice versa. PPNC is in power. Indian people have a right to benefit from the resources of the country. I don't have any problem with that. I'm never going to tell a little black boy, oh, the PPP in government, so don't go for no work. You're supposed to, your right to work is regardless of government. So here is my thing. The PPP's philosophy is that you can get a work, you can get a little contract, you can get a little something, but you have to join us first. You have to join the PPP. You have to come over to the PPP. Well, no. I'm totally against that. And once you do that, you have declared war on Black people. You are trying to do that too. And you've declared war on me and all of us who are patriots. And I am prepared to stand at the door and fight the PPP to even come in. My point with my brothers who are going over to the PPP is that you're either knowingly or unknowingly aiding and abetting the PPP in that design. That is to reduce Black people to beggars in their country. Somebody can tell me about all those Black people who get contract and who get this. I just asked my brother, and you all going to vex me for calling brother, but I just asked James. I said, James, all those people you named there, name me two who can go up on an new platform. And he couldn't name any. Because the PPP makes it clear, you're going to get a contract. You're going to get some jobs. But even without them telling you, you know that you can associate with the opposition. And that is what I'm totally against. I am saying that those who are going over, you are knowingly and unknowingly aiding and abetting this attempt by the PPP to reduce Black people to beggars in Guyana. And they are not beggars. They ought not to be treated as beggars. That when the PPP comes into the community, they're not coming in to say, come join the PPP out of your belief in our ideology. They're saying, come, I'm going to give you 25 fowl for mine. But before I deliver the fowl them, you got to come put on this red shirt. That is slavery. That is slavery by another name. And so those who are going over are aiding and abetting the enslavement of their own people. And I am saying that if you were once PNC and you vex with the PNC and you get the AFC in between there, forget about my party. You may not want to come there because we contrary, but you got the AFC. You can join the AFC.
When you say you guys contrary, what exactly you mean by that? Contrary in what sense?
We tell it as it is.
The WPA is not the only party that tell it as it is, but we can go on for a whole hour.
If you licking if you're going over and you're engaging in political ass licking, we're going to tell you as it is. We're not going to pape it and sugar it up and so on. We tell you it
Yeah,
is.
but the PNC does that too. Remember when Van West went over as ambassador, he took a beating there,
Yeah,
Dr. Hinds.
the leaders don't say it. They just put it
He took a beating.
They just put it forward. But anyhow, that's not the point. Here is
Sure.
the point, Mark.
Yeah.
The point, Mark, is that when you go from the PNC and you go straight over to the people, it's as if you're walking over to the enemy. Because in our political environment, those two parties are basically political enemies. And you are going over to the enemy camp. And if you're going over to the enemy camp, then those of us on this side have to ask, why are you going? Now, I will give some people the benefit of the doubt. You may go in because you have an epiphany and you feel that you can make a better contribution to yourself and your community by going over. But when you go over there and suddenly your rhetoric changes, your view of African Guyanese changes, then you are aiding and abetting the oppressor. And so therefore you're fair game. And this is my position, is that there are people, black people in the PPP, who are not ass lickers. They've been with the PPP from day one. They struggle with the PPP. They take blows with the PPP. And so they're not there to grease their hand or grease wherever. They're there because they believe in the PPP. But these people who are now going over, you have to convince me that you are going over there because you believe in their philosophy. And not you're going over there in order to catch you on or whatever you're catching. I don't know, but you have to convince me. And so therefore, in the absence of that convincing, I have to come to the conclusion that you are allowing yourselves, either knowing or unknowingly, to be used in order to go catch your own people to take them over there. And David Hinds not standing for that.
Dr. David Hinds with us, 55 minutes after 9 o'clock Guyana time. Reading some of your comments, indeed, Dr. David Hinds. We have lots of other things. I just wish these hustlers, these flat-foot hustlers, would just come out and say they're in the business for hustling. They just don't care about persons of African descent. They're pretending that they care, and they may try to soften themselves and all sorts of things. But these are the same guys who took umbrage to what you said and what others have said in calling them house slaves and all these things. But when African Guyanese are being attacked and called hungry belly dogs and all manner of things, they do not come out. They do not say a word, Dr. Hinds, not a word they say. Take, for example, not so long ago, but I don't see the video up. There was a young lady who was cursing out persons of African descent, calling them thieves and bandits and all manner of things. These African Guyanese, or these Bambuzu, or whatever you want to call them in the PPP, they do not come out and say that it is wrong to call African Guyanese hungry belly dogs. It is wrong to call African Guyanese derogatory terms. It is wrong to blog about African Guyanese and put them in tight pants and wigs and all manner of things on their website, the government-controlled website, where they're spending millions of dollars to blog against African Guyanese who are against them, against their wicked and vulgar policies, against their racist policies. We don't see these overnight so-called African leaders who are now in the PPP coming to defend that and to say it is wrong. But as soon as a David Hinds call them lick, they get vexed, they bumps raise. Why don't they come to the defense of other African Guyanese who are being attacked, Dr. Hinds?
Because they cease to be African Guyanese in terms of their thinking, their culture, and their ideology. When they go over there, all they left that is black for them is their pigmentation. And in these days of bleaching, I'm sure if they could bleach, they will bleach it out. So all they're left is a black skin. But their minds, their thinking, their orientation on the go a fundamental change, they cease to be African. Yesterday on Critic show, Critic is going after me with the thing, but he's hesitant because he's saying he knows me and he thinks that there has to be a context in which I made those statements. This lady calls in, she said,
who is that, you said? Who show?
Critic, the Guyanese Critic.
Oh, you watch comedy, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, when they call me, people call me up and down and say, look, Critic, going on with you there. So I looked at the show after. The young lady calls in. She said, Dr. Hinds wrong. He used the wrong verbiage and language and so on. And that lady proceeded to put a dress down on black people, that black people are racist. Even Critic had to say, lady, they're not biologically racist. No. Even Critic had to caution. So here is a black woman call in to say David Hinds shouldn't use those words to black people, whether they belong to PPP or PNC. But then she proceeds to carry on with abusing on black people, that even the critic, who does call black people hungry belly, had to tell you, no.
Critic calls black people hungry belly? When it was black folks, African Guyanese, who saved him when he was hungry, when he was walking on Rob Street vomiting? And all, the reason why I'm saying it's not funny, because the hypocrisy of these guys. Anyways, Dr. Hinds, continue, sir.
Yeah, but you see, that is the thing. And it's natural in human beings. If you go and you feel that these people over there are now embracing you, you feel obviously that you have to be more aggressively them. You see? And so therefore, it's almost like an automatic thing. They become so anti-black and hostile to blackness because they have to prove to the people over there that, look, I'm not like Mark Benshop. I'm not like David Hinds. You know, even tonight on my show, no,
don't do it, Dr. Hinds. Do the boxer. If you want to call that name, don't call them people name here. Waste the time. Them is hustlers.
Even tonight, James, it came out. Black people must work harder. Black people must contribute more to the country. And I had to tell him, no. Black people protect this country. They're at the border. They protect them as police. Black people run the government. They nurse our country back to health. They teach our children. And you are saying that they should work harder? How much harder? They clean the streets. How much harder? They man our docks. How much harder must they work? Towards the end,
people who say that have got to be insane. They have no sense of history. People who say that black people must work harder, after all, look at all of the villages, look at all those places that are developed. They have got to be, Dr. Hinds, you have a lot of patience, man.
Well, I have to.
You have a lot of patience.
I have to. In the end, he apologized.
In inviting them kind of people.
In the end, he apologized. But
I don't know, Dr. Hinds.
No. Here's the point, Mark.
Go ahead.
The point is that it came out with him even not realizing it. Because once you go over there, man, you have to act in a certain way. I'm not judging James or anybody, because everybody has a right to go where they want to go. But I'm saying, know the risk that you are taking when you go over there. You can't be yourself anymore. You cannot be yourself anymore because you have to please the people over there. And the people over there feel that the people over here are inferior. And so for you to prove that you are not inferior, you have to say, these people over there, they're more inferior than you think. And so this is a dilemma that people who are going over have to face. This is not jargon. These are people who see 30 billion barrels of oil down at the bottom of that ocean, and they have designs for the next 100 years on it. And so therefore, African people are in the way. And we can't kill them out, we can't send them back to Africa. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to hold them here as second-class citizens. And the design is there. For every dollar that we give others, we give them 1 cent. This is the design.
Dr. Hinds.
Yeah.
I need for us to please move on. People are saying that it is your show. I don't tell you who to have. You don't tell me who to have. But I switched off of your show tonight and I went and I took 2 Advil. I'm like, no. Even 1 second, even your Mati, as we would say in Guyana, Buxtonian. Even look, Miss October and all of them, even all of them couldn't even watch you tonight.
No, they understand me.
They don't understand.
No,
Dr. Hinds.
They disagree with me, but they understand me. They know what I'm doing. They know my strategy.
People are saying spot on. Nancy and the entire crew, Nancy and all of them. And
no, I mean that. I didn't advertise. You remember I talked to you earlier? I didn't even tell you bringing me on.
Yeah, because when I saw that you were having a snake on tonight, I'm like, you got snake catcher. You got from snake catcher to snake catcher. And if you weren't careful, the snake was able to swallow you a little bit. I heard you about your expensive rum and I'm like, no, Dr. David Hinds. No, Dr. David Hinds. I have expensive rum. You never asked me for that at my house. But you can't telling people coping in Melanie and drinking. Doctor, you came by me many times, man.
You're all bad.
Dr. Hinds. What's going on with biometrics in Guyana, man? Let's talk about GECOM and the allegations of massive corruption at GECOM. What are you guys doing in the opposition to ensure that there is free and fair elections and there is biometrics, sir?
Well, look, we are making some efforts at the level of the political parties. I think we are late, but it's better late than never. We are dealing with an opposition that is not yet on the same page. I don't think the 3 visible opposition parties, the PNC, the AFC, and the WPA, are on the same page yet. I think the PNC and the WPA are more on the same page than the AFC and the other 2. And so therefore, that is all holding up the kind of work that we would like to do. In a sense, what we have are 2 parallel oppositions, the PNC and the WP on the one hand, and the PNC and the AFC on the other hand. And that is frustrating in terms of when you want to take action. Now, the WP and the PNC has decided that we are going to forge ahead, and as we announced, that we feel that we have to take stronger action against biometrics. Basically, we have to take mass action. We set up a committee to advise us what that mass action should look like so that the leaders at the top don't make that decision, right, by ourselves. So we asked the committee that has members from both parties to come up with options for how we're going to up the ante. And they are working on that, and they should present it to us within the next 2 weeks or so. And then we'll take it from there. I think the AFC has said that it's not in favor of street protests. Now that presents a problem for the coalition as a whole. But we still have to listen to them because certainly in my estimation and the estimation of the WPA, we need every single vote. We need every single soldier. We need every single leader. We need every single party on board. So the answer to your question is that we are moving slowly because we are not yet on the same page.
All right, you did mention mass action, which is good, which is what should have happened 2-3 years ago. In an elections year now to have that, I'm not sure. You did say that when I say I'm not sure, I am for street protests, organized street protests. I am for that. Always been and always will be. You also mentioned that the AFC is not necessarily in support of that street protest. But the leader of the PNC himself said that they're not really in favor of protest.
Well,
What's the difference?
I wish
What's
I
the
could.
difference?
I wish I could speak for the leader of the AFC, but I can't. I shouldn't. I think if the leader of the the PNC, if the leader of the PNC has a change of heart or a change of strategy, I think he should announce it and not me. All right. So I would deflect that question.
Fair enough. So what about the AFC? Why are they so reluctant? Not why. It is pretty obvious, Dr. Hinds, that the AFC wants to run away by themselves and to go into the elections without the PNC. And they're only playing around. They're only pretending, and they're playing a game. Let us be straight up. They do not want to be part of the PNC story done. Do you see it that way?
I hope you're wrong. I say that for now because I want to be careful, and I beg supporters here because I know I frustrate people sometimes. For as much as when I get going, there's no stopping me. There's sometimes that I am quite hesitant, out of respect for our partners. I've come to in this hour, in this period, Mark, I've taken the conscious position that I am not being critical of any Black leader, past or present. It's a tactical position I've taken because when I look at former friends like Freddie Kissoon, all the Indians he used to cuss, all the Indian leaders, he now sees them as God and want people like me to continue to cuss Burnham and cuss this body and cuss the body. I stop that. I'm not cussing Burnham. I'm not cussing Height. I'm not cussing Granger. I'm not cussing Aubrey Norton. I'm not cussing Nigel Hughes. No Black leader, past or present. My interest now is bringing every single Black person, every single Black interest together as the largest block of the coalition. Because we have Indians, we have Amerindians, we have mixed people. But the largest block is African. We win or lose with African. And my interest is to bring all of us together. And so therefore, tactically, I am not criticizing no Black leader. And so, yes, the AFC is hesitant. Yes, they have some justification for being hesitant. But I think they could do better. And that is as far as I would go.
Thank you so much, Dr. David Hinds. 10 minutes after 9 o'clock, I'm reading some of your comments. I noticed some of you want to come on the program. Otto Martin wants to come on the program. Not tonight, Otto. Not tonight. Stay in the audience. Stay right there in the audience. Right? Good night to Otto. It's a little inside joke there, but Dr. David Hinds, let us hope that there's a strong coalition. The WPA has linked up with the PNC, gone back with the PNC, with the opposition, so to speak. I'm not going to ask you what the deal was because, of course, when political parties negotiate to get involved in a coalition, there has to be some sort of agreement where it's one seat. And I know deep down in my heart, Dr. David Hinds is not going to agree to no one seat. I also know deep down in my heart, Dr. David Hinds is not going to agree for 2 seats. I can put my head on the block that you have accepted nothing less than 3 seats. If I'm correct, do the Buxton laugh. If I'm correct, do the Buxton laugh.
Oh boy! All I can say, we probably get a little Obia in you, a little Arness Obia,
or Philippine Obia. Yeah. So I can walk away with, you already know what ministry you got. You already know the 3 seats and all of these things. It's politics, Dr. David Hinds. It's politics. No, Otto Martin. Stop sending me requests. You cannot come on a live show tonight. Please stay in the audience, Otto. All right, so
we haven't gotten to that point yet, Mark. But
I doubt that there will be a coalition without getting to that point. But that's okay, Dr. David Hinds. That's okay. That sounds like Trump. I'm not equating you to Trump. That somebody asked Trump whether there was a deal between him and the mayor of New York City. He said, no, there was. Of course, we all knew that there was a deal. And I'm saying publicly that, of course, there was a deal between the PNC and the WPA. Whatever that deal is, with all due respect, I don't expect you to share it here, but at some point in time, it will come out when the time is right. Why, getting back to GECOM, Dr. Hinds, why Claudette Singh is so, I don't even have a word to describe Claudette Singh. Obviously not transparent, obviously not democratic. What's going on in a GECOM? And the WPA, have you guys in the WPA requested a meeting with GECOM and the chairman?
Mark, let me say this. We prefer, if we're going to GECOM, we go as the joint opposition. The PNC, the WPA, and the AFC with one delegation.
The AFC doesn't want to go anywhere with you guys, Dr. Hinds. Let's face reality. The AFC said that the coalition, the talks is on life support. What more y'all want to hear? Forget about the AFC for now. They might get a seat or two if they're lucky, but continue though. Why?
No, we prefer to go together as a collective. Look, there is beyond the photo op and beyond a news item, the WPA are going to meet with GECOM. That's what it would be. A photo op, we'll get something in the news, but we want more than that. We want GECOM to shift its position. And I think if Ms. Claudette Singh, Justice Singh, sits across the table and she looks over and she sees Aubrey Norton, David Hinds, Nigel Hughes, our response is going to be different than if you see Nigel Hughes by himself or David Hinds by himself with the party members. She might be a little bit different with the PNC because the PNC is a large party, right? But I'm saying if she looks across and she sees three formidable black leaders, our response is going to be different. And so we discussed it at the level of our party, and we prefer to go as part of a team because we feel that we will be able to leverage more as the joint opposition than as WPA by itself.
Fair enough. The WPA has a member there, not representing the WPA. That's in the like of Desmond Truckman. What have you guys been getting from him? Because, I've been critical of the commissioners, all three commissioners. I believe that they should be doing more. They should be press conferences every week to let the masses know what's happening there at GECOM. We hardly hear from them, and that's a reality. But how are you confident that these guys are doing, the three commissioners, Vincent Alexander, Charles Corbin, and Desmond Trotman, are you comfortable with their job, their efforts, and whatever else? Are you at all comfortable?
Yes. Could they do more? Obviously, there's always room for more. But I'm comfortable. There is much more communication now between those nominated members and the political parties. All right? And so I think that is an advance. And so I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied that they're doing the best job. I think the model they're using is that Vincent Alexander is their spokesperson. So rather than the three of them speaking to the press, Vincent does. For example, Vincent is on my program every Thursday. He misses some Thursday like today. He's at a symposium on the PNC. But he comes on to the program and he gives very vital information.
Yeah, but when the PNC, when the coalition was in office, we saw the likes of Gunraj, Says Gunraj, the late Bibi Shadiq, and the late Robeson Ben. Oh no, he's not. He's always late, right?
But he's not dead.
It was deliberate, but delayed, right? And so every week, those guys were holding press conference. All three of them were speaking. They didn't isolate and say, let one man speak. All three of them were attacking at every angle. Every other day, there was a press conference amongst those three persons. Every other day. People need to see that sort of aggression by our three opposition commissioners there at GECOM. We don't need to take a sophisticated way and only Vincent Alexander will speak and he will go on your show. And people need press conference. They should call a press conference and say all three of them, because they're being paid to speak to us. And therefore, there should be regular press conferences, not just once a week appearing on David Hinds' show. And with all due respect, nothing is wrong with that. But they need to do more, Dr. David Hinds. They are not aggressive enough. My opinion, that is.
Yeah, it's a fair comment, and I hope they're listening. And if they're not, I will pass it on to them. That certainly Mark Benchop, and I see some people in the audience here are agreeing with you.
Let me just say, because people are messaging me and ask me if Robeson Ben died. I mean, they're always late. He's always late, as opposed to late, right? Dr. David Hinds, let's get back, because people have no hope in GECOM unless there is mass protest. The once per week protest that we're seeing, 30 minutes with just a couple people around the lane and a couple others, it's not doing the job. It's not doing anything that even shakes up GECOM. They're not moving. Nothing is happening. I don't know. Why do you suppose?
Well, I got the impression that protest was started by, spearheaded by Kedaki Amsterdam of the WPA. And then I think people like Rhonda persisted with it, and it's there. I never got the sense that the PNC put its machinery behind mobilizing for it. And I think that is self-evident. These days are not like in the old days, Mark, where, you, Freddie, myself, Gear.
Not Freddie. Freddie came along because he wanted us to protect him against the PPP. I remember days when we were being watched at and everywhere is Special Branch. For many years, Special Branch following us, especially those of us who were there full time. But like Freddie said, you buy a big house now in wherever. But that's the pettiness of those guys. African Guyanese can't buy a house. They can't own a house. We gotta live in basements, right? And read between the lines, or read between the lines. But Freddie wasn't really sincere. He came around us because of protection. Because when he had to leave those meetings, it was us who had to escort him all the way to his doorstep. A lot of people don't know that. And we took the risk of driving all the way back home by ourselves and maybe Special Branch. So Freddie wasn't really in the protest for the protest. He was there for his protection and for us to take him afterwards at Chanta and buy him all sort of food. And so he scrunched off of us. But you were saying it's not like the good old days.
We would, 3-4 of us will go.
But Dr. Hinds, the good old days was far more dangerous than now.
Yes. But
the murderers, the Phantom Squad, the killing squads, and the PVP control squads were killing people left, right, and center. But yet we confronted them.
Yeah.
What is stopping these guys now from confronting the PPP?
But I think the fair, the PPP has gotten a free pass for 4 years, going on to 5 years. We have given them a free pass, and I take my full responsibility for that criticism, in that we have not been aggressive in our resistance, in our protests, and the PPP has taken advantage of that, and they have basically driven fear in our supporters. So, like back then, people would come out and join us on the protest line. The press will always be there. Whether it's 3 of us, 4 of us, 20 of us, 30 of us, the press would be there. They would carry stories. People know we are there. People would come out. These days, you have to mobilize people. You really sometimes have to pay people to come on the picket line and so on. So it takes resources. That is what I mean when I said, I don't get the sense that the PNC has put its machinery behind that protest. And so it never grew. I think in the next phase, we will have to mobilize thousands of people. Because as I said, if 10,000 Guyanese were to go and just sit down in front of GECOM, the next day Claudia Singh will move. I'm not saying the next day we will get biometrics, but the next day she will move. They'll call us in, come, let's talk. Let's, But until we do that, there's not going to be any shift on the part of GECOM.
I agree with you 100%. Unfortunately, the leaders of today, they don't want protests. They don't believe in protests. They just want to try a thing in appearing to be professional, and that they're going to take that approach. There's nothing unprofessional about protest. There's nothing bad about protest. And you know that, Dr. Hinds. Lots of changes came about as a result of constantly banging up against the PPP when we were protesting back in those days. It didn't matter whether we were locked up or not. You were spared a lot of times. I want to feel you the one get over upon you. Because we always get in lockup. Always.
I would come in time when you all coming out of jail with Freddie crying.
Yep.
I remember.
Once he was locked up and he cried, and he told me, now that you mentioned that, in Brigham lockup, he told me he cried. He cried and he told me that he's done with this struggle. He's done with this struggle. Done with this struggle. But anyways, those were dangerous days and people weren't afraid. But they're afraid now, though. Why should they be afraid now? Why?
Well, look, people take the cue from your leaders. Yeah, I always tell people who say, well, you know what the Guyanese people do, they're not coming in the street. No protest. People have spontaneously come on the street. Behind the scenes, there's always the case where the political parties are mobilizing them. Even if they're not mobilizing them in front, it's behind the scene. But people have to have confidence that the leaders are ready for the fight. And if they think that the leaders are not ready for the fight, they're not going to come. I've been doing protests since you were in short pants, Mark. And I know that. People are not. There were times in the 70s and the 80s. I was looking at an old video. We had a march from Buxton to Kitty. And 8, 9-year-old children were in the march. Their parents gave them permission. Their parents trusted us that we mean business. And they were prepared to send their children, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, to march from Buxton to Kitty.
That was when
1987.
And that was when the PNC was in office.
Exactly.
And those are the days when people were not being gunned down just like that. But under the PPP regime, remember that lady got shot and killed in front of Freedom House, and there were so many people who were slaughtered under the PPP regime for standing up. There were so many women who received pellet bullets protesting in front of GECOM and all those things. I recall one day hundreds of people were in front of GECOM sometime in 2001, and on that particular day I was arrested 2 times by the police, placed before the court, and went right back out there again. Sometimes I sit and I watch what's happening in Guyana, and I just wish we can return to those days when people were brave enough to stand up against a corrupt PPP regime. But right now, it's like pussycats. The tail's under. You have leaders who tell you don't go out, don't do this, and you have the PPP intimidating people. Well, to hell with the PPP. I agree with you. 1,000, 2,000 people in front of GECOM. Trust me, the next day, Claudette Singh is gone because she's afraid of those sort of things. But we're not seeing it. We're seeing Rhonda Lane and a couple others. That can't do the trick, Dr. Hinds. It can't do the trick. Thank you, Princess Anita. Donna McKinnon in front of Freedom House, slaughtered by agents of the PPP regime. Mm-hmm. And another individual was shot in his arm as well. I wish I can find all those tapes that I did those interviews with the people on the ground. Dr. David Hinds, as we look at the time, I want to hurry off this program because I get some ice blocks to go and lick up. Ice blocks.
I'm mad at the ages, by.
Oh, yep. And I really do mean that. I don't mean and Dr. Hinds, lick up my ice blocks. Now, Dr. David Hinds, are you convinced that with the makeup of the opposition right now, whether combined or otherwise, that you guys can win the elections as is, or are you guys going to enter into talks about a consensus candidate if it reaches to that point?
Yes,
What's the deal? Talk to us.
we have to have a consensus candidate. The Constitution requires that, and we have to have a consensus candidate.
Fair enough.
I am optimistic that we will have a consensus candidate. It may not satisfy all the parties. My party has said very clearly, whoever is the consensus candidate, we're prepared to work with them. We have our view on how we should pick a consensus candidate. We're not ready to make that public. We don't want to preempt. And
Fair
so,
enough.
but we have a view on how the thing. I can tell you this. During the last coalition, the strategy was clear. The leader of the largest party gets the presidential candidate. In 2011, it was the PNC. The WPA got the prime ministerial candidate. When we moved to a coalition, the WPA moved on from second to third. So the presidential candidate went to the largest party, PNC. The prime ministerial candidate went to the AFC. That was the model that we used the last time. So it was clear and simple. I am not sure that that is the model that we will use this time around. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think there is merit to the argument that the largest party must have the first bite at the presidential candidacy. And if that party's candidate is not satisfactory to all, that party must have the first bite at deciding who else other than their leader should be it. So I'm just throwing that. I'm not saying that that's my settled thinking. I'm just saying you cannot ask the largest party, the party with the largest name recognition, the largest machinery, the party who will bring the most resources. You cannot say to that party that you should not have the first bite at the presidential candidacy. I don't see how you can do that, right? So certainly one of the criterion has to be the party that brings the most resources, that has the largest potential and real voter base. That has to be one of the criteria.
30 minutes after 9 o'clock, Dr. David Hinds with us. I have some other pressing issues, pressing questions for Dr. Hinds, but I know he had a very, very busy day. He was in the jungle. He was mingling with some snakes and tried to crawl out of the jungle to come back to reality. We're glad that Brother David Hinds is back with us. I noticed that, like, the Kwame and them came out trying to take a snap at you. It didn't work. They went back into their pigeonholes. Maybe he's rung the cathedral right now. But we got you, Dr. David Hinds. We got you because we know that you are sincere about what you're doing. And we got you. So when they snap at you, we will snap back at them.
Let me say this, Mark. I want to say two things.
Sure, sir.
There is a post that was drawn to my attention. A post on Facebook, I understand, where someone says that they spoke to me and I said I acted out of frustration.
Wait a minute. Your voice is a little low. You said there's a post on Facebook, but you're not going to call any name or whatever.
No,
but I'm
no.
saying that your voice is a little low. But continue.
Why you don't go become a stand-up comedian? You will become richer. You will buy 10 homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I respect young people, and I'm always open to young people to talk and so on. And I respect the fact that they may interpret things in a certain way. But I want to say to the audience and the other people, I will not apologize. I have not apologized for not one word that I said.
But why would that individual run out and go so low to say that you have apologized?
I don't know. I don't know. But let me just say that
and that you are frustrated.
I did not speak out
and then, and less than 24 hours after you brought a snake on to talk to us. And the person, you're not calling the name, but Elson Lowe has said that out of frustration you said what you said.
No, with that due respect, and you know, like I said, I'm respectful of young people. And I think sometimes Elson may have misinterpreted, but I just want to, for the record, to say that I was not frustrated. I am not frustrated. What I did was intentionally done. I felt that this was a burning issue that was being kept quiet, and I felt that I had a megaphone, and I decided to do what they call in the army.
But why do you suppose some of them in the PNC, sorry to cut into you like that, some in the PNC feel as though you're hurting them with that statement?
I hope not, because I've gotten so many messages from PNC people at the highest level who was saying. So I hope they don't think so. But you never know. I mean, the PNC, the PNC is a traditional party, and they're always mindful about what people say about them and think about them and so on and so forth. And I respect that. I respect that. But I'm just saying that I was not frustrated. I did not act out of frustration. It was calculated. And I anticipated, and the PPP walked into my trap. Walked straight into my trap. Because I knew they were going to respond, and I knew it going to go viral, and that will open up the conversation among more people. And that is exactly what happened. I have finished my job and ready to move on to the next project.
So where you coming with tomorrow? Yesterday was like whatever. Tomorrow's what, chatty?
The second thing I wanted to say is that Brother Ubraj Narain came out swinging against me, and under different circumstances, I would have gone after him. But I would give Pandit a pass, because Pandit threw himself down on the ground in support of Black women in front of the hospital. I'm eternally grateful and thankful to him for doing that, because he did more than most and many Black leaders were prepared to do. And so I give him a pass. But as I said last night, I'm saying it again, Pandit, be very careful when Black people's story going on. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. There are some things, stay out of. Stay out of. I'm not saying everything, because Black people are Guyanese too. But on some of these issues, stay out of it. You don't have to live with the fear that the PPP will call a little Black boy and say, hey, come here, look at $200,000, go and kill David Hinds. Go and shoot David Hinds. Mark Bishop, David Hinds, all of us Black leaders have to live with that reality. And that is why we are trying, that is why we are working hard to keep the PPP out from poaching and catching our young people. All right? This thing is deep, Pandit, and you wouldn't understand it. You won't understand it. This thing is deep. There are certain things, stay out of. I love you, brother, because of what you've done for us. But certain things, stay out. I just wanted to say those things.
Thank you so much, Dr. David Hinds. Appreciate you as always, and appreciate what you do. The next time you appear right here on 107.1 FM, I will ask you again, straightforward. This time I wouldn't beat around the bush. Whether it's 3 seats you got, and what are some of the ministries you have. Dr. Hinds, thank you so much. I don't know, when was the last time, since you're talking about lick this and lick that, when was the last time? We'll end with this tune here, man, so that the lickers can just be reminded. Let's go. Operator.
Hey, fatty boom boom.
That's all.
Yeah,
that's all.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Hinds. God bless you. And looking forward for your program tomorrow. Hope you have something hot and spicy. Please stay away from the snakes.
All right.
Stay away.
All right.
No matter how much expensive liquor. We got expensive liquor too. David, stop by at Lincoln Lewis Place. Stop by at some other place. We got expensive liquor too. And it's bought with real money.
Lincoln does get jamun wine and gooseberry wine and them things that drunk me too quick.
Once I went by Lincoln and Lincoln offering people tamarind juice.
yeah, them things he just get there. Come on, me get no drink. We go. Look at get gooseberry.
It's always a pleasure, and to all of our listeners, wherever you're from, wherever you are right now. Thank you so much for watching. We will do it. We will do it. The PPP will be out of office. We will do it. We will get it right. We might be fighting. We might not agree on every issue. But at the end of the day, we will get it right. Thank you, Dr. Hinds. Appreciate it. And guess what? This is a song. All of you know this song, but read between the lines. David Hinds was correct. Read between the lines.
Hey, fatty bum bum, the sweet sugar dumpling. Hey, fatty bum bum, let me tell you something. No, not because you're so big and fat. Don't believe I'm afraid of that. Self-praise is no recommendation. I'm looking for creation. Hey, fatty bum bum, the sweet sugar dumpling. Hey, fatty bum bum.
All right, and before we go, our operator just reminded me, we played a song for the hustlers, the scavengers, the political scavengers, the crapos. They know who they are. They can't beat us. They can't beat us at this game. They just can't beat us, guys. They know it too. What they're seeing at 107.1 FM is just 30% of action. They would want us to raise the action to 50 or even 75%. It's going to be licks like peas. This is what? This is a message to them.
Some of them mouth like posy. They like to sit down and talk people's story. But they dirty mind the show right on their face. Them love to walk and talk my name from place to place. If you think I lie, play dead and close your eye. If you think I lie, play dead and close your eye. They surely wish you bad and even want to see you die. But I don't really care what you saying about me, cause I'm living my life so happy. And it burning them inside to see. Cause I live in my life so happy. And it burning them inside to see. This one is...
Yeah, my name is Jacinti Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.